stupid. There was lots of news coverage about him again this week because it looks like his NBA team, the LA Clippers, now has a buyer. But my next guest says the spotlight on that kind of racism is misplaced, that it's a distraction from systemic injustices. His name is Ta-Nehisi Coates, and he recently grabbed that spotlight and shined it on this, a cover story for The Atlantic titled "The Case for Reparations." This is the concept of paying damages for past wrongs. In this case, paying African Americans to compensate for the damage done, really the wealth stolen, by slavery, Jim Crow laws, racist housing policies, and so forth. The Atlantic rolled this magazine article out like it was a blockbuster movie, which really impressed me, to be honest. And it impressed Coates, too. I met up with him at the magazine's offices in New York earlier this week. Check out what he told me. I was amazed by the way the Atlantic rolled this article out. How did that start?
I would love to say that it was totally intentional. It was not totally intentional. It's very interesting how things work today. We had the piece done. We had it, boxed up, and everybody was very happy, very pleased, and very proud of it. And I was talking to James Bennett, who's editor, now co-president of The Atlantic, and I suggested, hey, can we just tweet the cover out, maybe get a little hype, not say anything else? And he said, no, you know what? We've been experimenting with doing these trailers for the entire issue. Movie trailers, yeah, for the entire issue. And we've done a few. He said, what if we did one for just this story? Just this story. And I said, okay, well, that sounds interesting. And I saw it probably about 2 days before it was tweeted out. It blew me away.
Maybe this is what publishers have to do now in this digital age.
Yes. But if I may be a little bit arrogant, I think it really, really matters that you have a great story behind it. I think, if you got the product, you can do all the hyping.
Getting back to the idea of a movie, you got to have character development.
That's
you
right.
got to have a payoff. All of those things we associate with movies.
That's right. You got to have something to advertise. And beyond whatever work I put into it, The Atlantic put quite a bit of resources behind that piece and making sure to tell it, with all the thickness that it deserves.
And The Atlantic set a single-day traffic record with the article the day it went online. It's been read days and days and days since. What has been the reaction that you've heard? Have you succeeded in kicking off a debate about this topic?
I think so. I don't know where that goes, but yeah, I would say so. It has been shocking.
Donald Sterling's been in the news for his racist rant that was on audio, but he was accused of housing discrimination for years before, and that didn't get nearly as much press attention.
No. And that, again, that's a challenge of storytelling because it's nowhere near as, sexy as, say, some, young girl, catching you, on audio tape and then releasing it to the world. People like that. There's something sexy about that. But housing really gets at the core of, our very identity as Americans, our sense of what it means to be a citizenship, the idea that I have purchased a piece of the country. And for people to see, I think, a whole class of people cut out of that, really people can get the basic injustice of that, I think.
What is your overall impression of the way race is usually covered in the media? Because this article is in a league of its own. We don't see 16,000 words oftentimes dedicated to an issue like this.
Well, I think, race is covered in the way that we cover, most things in the media, and that is that there's a bias towards spectacle. And so, as like when Donald Sterling says something, that means something. When Clive Bundy, this spectacle, says something, that means something. And this presents, great difficulty for those of us who are concerned about the force of racism in American life, because much of it isn't spectacle.
Your character's experience is not the stuff of headlines.
No, not at all. And even, the stuff, we talk about race that does get attention. For instance, we see that old footage of Bull Connor, and we see kids being hit by the high-pressure water hose. That sort of imagery is not evoked with the sort of things I was talking about in that story.
Right, what you're talking about is in color, not in black and white.
That's right. That's very, very true. But I think that, is the challenge of any storyteller. You have to find some way to, bring that to life and, get across to people what's actually happening.
You argued in a recent blog post that Sterling, that Bundy, these are examples that make people feel good because they can easily condemn them and then ignore the systemic issues.
Yeah. No, it's a lot harder, when you get to things that are at the core of us. And again, I feel like that's really a storytelling challenge, to get people to look away from the spectacle, to get people to look away from the loud, sort of histrionics and pyrotechnics, and look at the really, really quiet systemic things, that, damage many people's lives in this country.
You've been out promoting the article, talking about the article for days now. I saw you at an event that BuzzFeed had the other day, and you talked about political reporting and how they miss the racial context of of the country when they write about politics. Tell me what you wish political reporters would do differently.
Well, I think part of this is, the racial context suffers from a bigger problem, and that is, and this has been one of my great frustrations for a long time, the ahistorical nature of political punditry and political analysts. I just think that we could understand our history better, and we could integrate that into our actual storytelling and into our coverage and into our analysis just a little bit better. And, again, not to take it back to the thing I just said, but that was one of the challenges of this particular story. How do you make history interesting? We know that history has a weight on our lives, but the bias towards the immediate, I think the challenge is to connect the immediate to the past.
Thank you so much for joining me and telling me about it.
Brian, thanks so much for having me.
Yo, what's up, Nyahas? It's your boy, Philco here. And first, I want to start out by applauding this man. I generally agree with this man. Loved it. He seems like a very intelligent dude. I think we can learn a lot from him. I think we all should listen to him because he gave some really good points. Now I'm going to get to it. I'm going to get to my opinion about things he said and things I think. Now, first off, if you watch my videos, you would know he said something that sounds very familiar to something I was saying. Especially dealing with this whole Donald Sterling thing, how that shit is not important. It's not that important. It's just what the media focuses on. Then everyone gets into a frenzy about it, and everyone gets butthurt what is not that important. What did I say was important when it comes to this whole racism thing? Things that actually affect people. Not just their emotions, but their livelihood. For example, firing someone because they're black, or housing discrimination. All those things are real issues. Attacking somebody. All those things are real issues. This Donald Sterling thing and that fucking lady calling the guy a nigger in a car in front of her kids, that's what I call entertainment racism, and it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Now with the whole Donald Sterling incident, I know a lot of people were mad at me because I was like, I don't see the big deal. I don't see why he's known to be so racist. It's his personal feelings, and I respect it. For example, the example I gave with the bitch who I forgot I gave her. I'll just call her Kate. Like Kate, white girl who works at McDonald's. She has blonde hair, blue eyes. What happens is white guy comes into the McDonald's first, or whatever, and he's like, hey, can I have a large order of fries? She goes, sure, you can have it. But I must mention, she's known to be racist to most people. She's a racist, right? So the white guy comes in first, and he's like, yeah, I know, I'd like some big fries. She goes, okay, here's your fries, give me the money. Great. And then before he leaves, he goes, hey, can I get your phone number? I'd like to take you out sometime. And then she goes, oh, okay, sure. Writes down phone number, blah, blah. Asian guy walks in. He's like, large fries, please, whatever. He gets the large fries. She's like, thank you. He goes, hey, can I get your number? I'd like to see you sometime. She goes, okay. Gives the Asian guy her number. Then a black guy comes. He's like, hey, can I get a large fries? She goes, okay, sure, here you go. They change money, everything's fine. Then he goes, can I get your number? She goes, I'm sorry. And then he decides to say, why not? Tell me. You could be honest with me. And she goes, well, honestly, and she whispered to him, I'm not really into black guys. Now, is she a racist? Is she a bad person for not liking black men in a sexual way? No, it's her fucking personal preference. The only time it's a problem is if she wouldn't give him fries because he's black, or she was spitting his fucking food. That's negatively affecting him. That's actually going out of your way and doing something about it, rather than just having feelings. Now, who you choose to be next to or who you want your friends to be next to, that's your personal fucking choice. But when it comes to business, you gotta do your fucking job. So if you really want to see if this guy was racist, you could listen to that conversation and say, okay, you know what, this is something I think is wrong. Then you investigate his team players, you investigate his business, make sure that there was no racism involved in his business. And if that's cool, it's fucking fine. Because if he was that bad and he was so racist, why is so many black people still playing for him on the team? They were being treated like slaves? Oh, I didn't know slaves drive Ferraris. I didn't know slaves got to get laid by as many beautiful women as they want. You know what I mean? So, something's not making sense. And I agree with him on that shit is not important. What's really important are the situations like housing discrimination, blacks being attacked, that kind of shit, people. When we pay attention to this stupid stuff like white lady cursing at some guy in the car, we pay attention to that and say, racism's still alive. We're basically looking this way, and right behind us, fucking blacks they're losing their jobs, being kicked out because they're black, and we're looking at people who just got their fucking feelings hurt. You know what I mean? So let's pay more attention to shit that's actually happening, that's actually hurting black people physically instead of just feelings. You know what I mean? So I agree with him on that. Now to the whole reparations thing. First, I want to get to the black thing. Now, what's funny is, let's say blacks do. Let's say they decide to give blacks reparations. Like, all blacks are to get $5,000. Let's say they were to do that. You know what's funny? If you watch my videos, you've heard me say many times that I don't think anyone should be considered black unless they have naturally nappy, strong hair. That's the West African thing. All the slaves who came from West Africa had that fucking hair. And in America, they're known as black more than anyone else. That includes me. That includes my parents, that includes my family. We're all black and we have that strong rooted hair, like straight out of Africa. Because we're the only people on the planet to get that hair. Only Africans are known to get that hair. Nowhere else in the world. Not a fucking Jew fro. It's humongously different. I hate when people say Jew fro's like black hair. You're an idiot. It's completely different. Okay? But we're the only ones to know that. That's the one thing about us that no one else can get. You understand? It's the one thing. So I decided to choose that as as an indicator that we're black. So let's say they do start to get reparations. Remember that video I said where all the black girls are straighter hair than other black girls saying, oh, I'm not black. I may be from Africa, whatever, but I'm not black. You know, look at my hair and all this stuff. Remember? Well, they ain't getting shit. And it's too late now. Because what's going to happen if blacks do get reparations? Oh, no, I am black. This is a perm. This is a perm. No, fuck that. Let them people who believe they're not black, let them not be black. We be black. Let's stop trying to say this person's black, this person's black, all blacks have this, black has that. No. We're black. What I mean by we're black, I mean the black people out there, you know what I mean with the natural nappy hair. Yo, that's us. Let's let it be us. From America to Africa, let that be us. No curly shit, no naturally straight shit, no. The core strong nappy hair, that's us. So if reparations ever do come in, you don't got that hair, you got some wig in your shit, get the fuck out of here, blondie. Alright? You ain't black. That's what I do. I know this kind of crazy and silly, but that's what the fuck I do. Since a lot of them don't want to claim black once they have straight hair or buy straight hair, then they're half Indian. Well, you're half Indian where you're getting full of nothing. Because this is for blacks only. Alright? So, to the other thing. Should blacks get reparations? In the form of money? Absolutely not. I would really be against blacks getting reparations in the form of just pure money, like a check or cash. Absolutely not. Black people were not very financially stable. We don't have financial maturity. We don't know how to spend money. All they want to do is, what's going to happen if black people get reparations? This ain't even a joke. Cadillacs going up. Their stocks flying up. You got Indian hair. You got Jordans. They'll be soaring. I mean, we're going to immediately push that money out of the community. So how do I think blacks should get reparations? It would not be in the form of just free money. It could be two ways. One, any black person who has a full-time job makes 150% more than what they're making. No, 50% more than what they're making. So if they make $10 an hour, when they work now, they make $15 an hour. Doing it this way, people can't just sit on their ass and get money. They have to be productive. You understand? So you can raise their salary. Or another way you can do it, you can open businesses in black areas and open schools for people who want to go and make it free. So those people go to schools 3-4 years and graduate, they get to take part in these businesses, and one day they're likely to own it. And they're likely to get really good money. Now that's free school, free education. That's reparations to me. Free education. If blacks really want reparations, free fucking education for black people. That's brilliant. I don't see how anyone could be against that. Oh, but nigga, I'd rather get my 5 G's. I'd rather get my 5 G's, you know, cop some rims. Yeah, I know. But the free education is the shit. Especially when there are schools built in black areas, you know, where we have black professors who teach us how to uplift our communities and how to keep the money inside. That would be amazing. And it'll be free. You know, the government will pay the teachers to teach us. Wouldn't that be amazing? That'd be some cool pro-black shit. But I highly doubt it's going to happen. You know, people rather just have that money, nigga. Just have that money. They might even give us the fucking money in credit. Alright, $5,000 for every black person. Here's your credit. You know, we gotta pay it back later. I don't know. But I like what this guy had to say. I know this is a long video, but just let me know what you think, man. I'm out. Later.